Welcome to the Soul Star Podcast with your spiritual besties, Allie and Mandy. We're here to make your spiritual journey fun, relatable, and inspiring. So let's raise your vibe and ignite your soul together.
Hey everyone, welcome back to the Soul Star Podcast. Thank you so much for joining us for another week. Allie is under the weather, so she's not as going to be as lively as she usually is.
More.
Just kidding, I can pull it out of you.
Yeah, you can. I know. I feel like I have I don't know, I feel all nasally.
There is a cold going around, but what are we talking about today? Do you remember?
Yeah. We're talking about, I feel like my head's in the clouds, so I apologize. Maybe this will make it fun, actually, because I'll be like,
Usually it's fun. Usually it's fun when you're in the clouds.
When I'm in the clouds.
Yeah.
Well, I think what we're going to talk about is dealing with when people are triggered by your frequency. So when you raise your frequency, you're going to find that just the vibration that you hold, just that alone is going to rub people the wrong way. And that's fucking hard.
It is. And we've talked about this a lot in the sense of when you start going on an awakening journey, one of the first things that happen is you start to raise your frequency because you're starting to change your perspective. You're seeing things from a different point of view, but you're doing like some inner work. Maybe you're meditating more. Like there's things are shifting deep within. And we talk about how when you start to raise your frequency, some of the relationships in your life might change or might fall away naturally, and it's not usually like hard or harsh. It's kind of like, oh well, I don't really see eye to eye, or we don't really have anything in common anymore, so we just kind of don't hang out any longer kind of thing. You just kind of like lose touch with some friends or whatever, but it's usually because your frequency has raised to a point where and they haven't, so there's just this, you're just not on the same page any longer. And we've talked about how we haven't really dove into this because it can be hard when you're the one that's changing the script and you're doing the inner work and you're raising your frequency, and then you become so attuned to your own energy that you start to really notice and you really understand at a deep level who you are, and that people aren't seeing that any longer, or they're not able to see your authenticity because they're triggered by it and they're still sitting in their wounded inner child space, or there's just they haven't done the work, right? So it can be so sad and so heartbreaking when you feel like you aren't getting along with people on the regular, because now as you do the work more and more and more, I find it's like there's this disconnect almost between you and like everybody that you come across with. Like you can feel that difference in frequency, literally feel it. And we know what's going on, but they don't. So when you're disliked just for existing, it's really hard. It's really hard to accept that as a human.
Yeah.
Even though we understand the higher point of it, we're still human and it's hard.
Absolutely. Oh God, it's so hard. I was saying it's like it's tiring. Like it's just tiring. Um, that was one thing that kind of like going through my spiritual awakening and learning all of this stuff and looking back over my life and different relationships and work dynamics and I do find it's very much in the work dynamic.
Because that's
And
where we spend most of our time.
yeah, right, you do. And kind of like realizing like there's been this kind of like pattern or this like commonality, and I've always been somebody that's like, well, if there's a common factor, like if you're the common factor, if the same thing keeps happening and you're the common factor in all of that, you got to look at yourself. It's something you're doing, not everybody else, right? And I've always believed that. And so I remember at one point like being like, God, what am I doing to get people to like be triggered or mad or jealous or I don't know. Um and I just because I'm like I have no problem calling myself out on things, right? And most people who know me know like I will self-reflect and turn the spotlight on myself very easily and call myself out if I, am doing something. And I've sat there and been like, my God, like I wasn't being rude. I remember this one time with a manager and we were supposed to have a one-on-one and this person didn't come to my office like they normally do, and so then I'm like sitting there going like, do I just leave it because I'm fine not having a one-on-one, or do I go to their office and be like, hey, we're still doing our one-on-one? Like I just didn't know what to do. And I thought, oh, if I leave it, I might get in trouble. Like, what did you tell me? So
Mm-hmm.
I went to the office and I was like, oh, I'm just checking to see like if we're still doing our one-on-one. And, sure enough was like, oh, yeah, 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 come. And then a week later, my manager pulls me aside and was like, I have to talk to you. I was really hurt with how you said that. And I was like, and I was completely like, what? Um, and it was like, this whole week I've been thinking, like, I was like, oh my God, like this whole week you've been thinking about this? And I'm like in my head, and the way this person, I guess, received it was like, are we doing this meeting? Which, if
Oh,
anybody knows me, I don't
hmm.
fucking talk like that.
No.
Like, that would be like in a work setting.
Hmm.
No, even if I was pissed off, I am
Hmm.
very good at masking. I am very good at masking in a workplace,
Yeah.
not in general, right?
Yeah.
So, I remember sitting there thinking about it because I'm like, I am so sorry. That was literally not my intent. And I, sat with that and thought about it. And I was like, sometimes I realize, my personality is I'm jovial, right?
Hmm.
And maybe more jovial than some and more happy and like because I'm good at masking.
Hmm.
And sometimes if I'm like not feeling well or maybe a little grumpy or whatever, my jovial comes down a little and then I'm maybe just normal, like just normal person, pleasant person, right? Like I've never been one to be like and be grumpy and people be like, oh my God, Allison's grumpy. Like I'm not gonna fucking be like that at work. It's a professional place.
Hmm.
But sometimes I feel like because I have such a higher extreme of like that if I'm just like fuck, just down a notch, people are like, oh my God. And I'm just like, oh, what? Maybe I need to be more moody so that it's just normal. Because like I even find even with my mother at times, like if all of a sudden I kind of get, where I'm like, no, that's not what we're gonna do. Oh my God.
Really?
Oh yeah, so offended. And I'm like, can I not at all in my life at all get a little angry or get a little grumpy without somebody being like, oh, and then like it's so but I just remember like that example, and then this has happened throughout my career,
Hmm.
and I've been like, I have no idea. And then when we started down this path and everything, and then I started to kind of put the pieces together and put the pieces because the people that were triggered by me were very same energy,
Very negative people and always
negative self,
on.
I think
Yeah.
a lot of self-esteem issues, or because that's a root
And super
cause.
insecure.
Yeah. And so like that can be a root cause. Like somebody can come across as cocky as fuck and be like, look at me, look at me. And the root cause is they're overdoing it
Hmm.
to compensate for maybe this lack of they feel inside.
Yeah.
And then they can be triggered and really come at you. But it's all because if you were to dig deep, you would see that their solar plexus was struggling.
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
Or the person maybe is not like that, but still kind of that catty or that kind of, but again, it all roots from that.
Yeah.
And if they have those unhealed aspects of themselves, and then you walk in and your frequency is like up here and your light is shining bright, and they're just instantly like nails on a chalkboard. Just look at
Yeah.
you and you're like, ew.
I was actually having this conversation with Nick earlier, and because it's both ways. So like typically, when you're higher vibration, you're in a good mood, you're happy, you're compassionate, you're joyful, like you're just in a good mood. And then when you come across person after person after person after person after person after person who is not in that same energy, it
Mm,
gets really exhausting trying to stay in your good mood,
mm,
but try to hold space or even be in the same orbit as the people who aren't there with you.
yeah.
It's because we feel it too. So like I told Nick, I was like, it's kind of like sandpaper on skin when you have to be around somebody who's super negative all the time and always venting or always angry, and or very toxic. Like, and I'm thinking about youth sports, the most toxic experience I've been through. And
Yeah.
it feels like it's louder and louder and louder. I don't know if it's just me because I'm changing fundamentally.
And more, you're more sensitive, because I do want to touch on that after, is
Yeah.
how we're more sensitive to it.
Yes, it's so uncomfortable for me to be in that energy, that it feels like sandpaper on my skin. Like I almost can't handle it. So there's something going on. So Jace is playing lacrosse this year. Aubrey's playing ball. Of course, there's drama in both areas with parents and their opinions and their egos and the coaches and their uh, mindsets or their coaches' philosophies. And it's just like it's just terrible. It's nothing. It has nothing to do with the kids, right? It's all about. It's just uncomfortable. And
Yeah.
so there's like this chat that's going back and forth, and I have like 51 missed messages on this app, and I'm like, oh God. So like I hate having the notifications that aren't cleared. So I have to go in there and clear it.
Oh
And
yeah.
I start reading some of this, and it's just arguing back and forth between parents, back and forth, back and forth, back and forth. And then this guy's opinion, this guy's opinion, this guy's opinion, this guy's, and I'm like a parent meeting on Wednesday. And I'm like, I am not going to that fucking parent meeting because it is going to be the exact same thing, but just in person. Like, just tell me what happens. Let me know if I need to spend some money so they can go to a tournament or not, whatever it is. I said, I'm just like,
Yeah.
I just cannot exist in that space anymore. It's getting more and more uncomfortable. And it's also very disappointing. It's very disappointing
Mhm.
when you are doing well, when you're doing the work and you see things so clearly to recognize how many people still are that way and they're not changing. Do you know what I mean? Like it's just there's so many emotions that are going on in my head these days in my heart because of these experiences. It's just so uncomfortable.
Yeah, it is so uncomfortable. And you kind of sit there at times and you're just like, how much longer can we be this way and exist this way? And and with the heaviness of everything in the world, like we see more and more very vile things
Behavior.
happening in our world.
Yeah.
And and more is coming to light too, right? So
Mhm.
we talk about how it's kind of like this, the light is being shone bright on some of the real evil that's been happening around in the world for a very,
Mhm.
very long time. And so this kind of spotlight's coming, and all of some of these things are coming to the surface, and it's becoming very heavy for a lot of people, because then you're sitting there going, what the fuck do we live in? But it's
Mhm.
always been there. It's always
Mhm.
been there. So it's not new. It's just we're being made aware of it. And so I think, like, when you have all of that as that external noise, and then you have your internal, and you're seeing just on the
Micro.
micro,
Yeah.
and your day to day, and you're just like, whether it's a client coming in and just getting pissed off with you, and just being cruel, whether it's to you and whatever. And again, it's like you don't know what's going on in that person's life, but it's just like it can come down to those micros where you're like, oh my God, like, can people just not be nice to each other?
I
Can we
know.
just not be kind to each other? Um, and I find I've become very energetically sensitive to it. So like,
Me too.
even just things like in that my intimate relationships with people, so whether that's family, partners, friends, whatever. um
Wait, partners. Just kidding. Plural partners.
partner. I'm
Does
just
your
playing the
partner know?
field. No, I was talking in general. Partners, people partners. My God, she's got 10 of them. But I'm like, I even find like it's super weird because I'm not used to this, but
Hmm.
I find like, like let's just say you're like, you ask Nick or something like that, like, oh, who were you talking to? And then say Nick's just like, my mom, like, say he gets defensive, right?
Yeah.
It's simple. It's
You
simple.
feel that like 100 times.
You fucking feel it. And
Yeah.
and old Allison would have been like, okay, whatever.
Carry
Um,
on.
Me now, it's like this energetic slap, and I feel hurt. Like,
Yeah.
I feel hurt. And it's really hard because you can't expect everybody around you
Hmm.
to walk around like you're this fragile little china,
I know, like on
right?
eggshells.
On eggshells, because people are going to get agitated. I get agitated. People, I know it's not out of like malice or
Hmm.
anything like that, but I also can't shake the like it's literally just like it's just like and then I'm like, oh, and then I feel so like hurt, and I'm like, what the fuck, I hate this so much because I was never like that. And I I find, like, obviously being in a relationship, and these parts of me, like, I'm way more sensitive to the nuances and the things that my partner does, um or even the like, or what he doesn't do, or like, it's all these little micro things, and
Hmm.
it's like I'm hyper aware of it,
Yeah.
and I hyper feel it, and like, even to the point where you're like, it's like you can feel them pulling away, like how you go through relationships where it's just kind of like go through periods maybe where somebody maybe pulls away, and it could be totally to do with something else, but you feel, as this sensitive, as this intuitive, all you know is you feel
You
this
feel the pull or you feel like the wall go up.
yeah, yeah. And then and I guess I've always been able to do that, because I remember, like, with my ex, it would be like, if he would say so, I'd be like, what's wrong?
Hmm.
And then because I knew something shifted, but I didn't know what, and then I was like, are you mad at me? And so I still have that, but I feel like it's like the volume's
Turn
turned up.
to like full blast.
Yeah, and then I'm just like, and then the poor, like, I feel bad for my partner, in the sense, because I'm feeling every little thing, and it's like, what, he can't have privacy to like think in his head, like, ugh, I'm just not feeling it being around, like, Allison, right? You can feel
Yeah.
that way. There's nothing wrong with it. There's times where I'm just like, I don't want to go. I don't want to be around you. We
Hmm.
should be allowed to do that. But I
Hmm.
I fucking feel it, and I know when it's
Hmm.
happening. And so I'm like, you can't exist like that. Like,
I don't know what's
fuck
I
down.
I totally agree with you. And I think that's part of the evolution of Ascension is that you do like that's how we know that we're doing a good job in a way is because we are becoming more and more sensitive with the energy and all that sort of stuff. But there is the polar, like the duality of life is there's duality in everything, right? So
Mm.
the hard part of it is trying to figure out how to exist in
I
this new
know.
way because I know exactly what you mean where everything's feels like it's turned up to like full blast because,
Mm-hmm.
with Jace, he's 17-year-old young man and he's got like hormones raging through him and he gets like there's been periods of time where he's gotten really frustrated and it's like I feel like his frustration
Mm-hmm.
like 100%, like maybe more than he does.
Yeah.
And so when he's trying to voice his frustration to me, I almost can't handle it because it's too loud. It's
Mm-hmm.
too like it's so uncomfortable for me to feel his rage, like his anger and his frustration that I'm trying to like calm it down by saying things he doesn't want to hear because I need him to tone it down. Like I need you to turn that down a little bit so I can be here for you.
Yeah.
And I think I didn't recognize that for a little while. And we just literally had a conversation about it like 2 or 3 days ago where he was like, he did something and he got frustrated and he punched a hole in the wall of his room.
Oh
He's like, and so
no.
I saw it finally and I got upset and I was like, there's consequences and all these sorts of things. So the conversation ended up like when everything calms down, I was like, I said, there has to be consequence for this. You're going to pay for you're going to figure, like, you're going to fix it and then you're going to paint your room. Like, this is
Yeah.
your consequence. I didn't want to call it a punishment, but as a
No,
consequence.
no, yeah, we make choices and there's
Yeah.
consequences to choices.
Yeah. So then
Yeah.
he explained to me what happened and he's like, I elbowed my pillow on the wall and it went through. And I was like, why were you so angry? And he's like, I tried to tell you all these things were happening. He's like, but I can't talk to you because you tell me that it's too much or whatever. And I was
Oh
like, oh,
shit. Oh,
I see.
damn
I
it.
see. So
Ugh.
I am very sensitive, but I also don't want him to not be able to come talk to me. But
Yeah.
when he's coming at me with that frustration and that rage,
Mm-hmm.
I can't handle it. So
Ugh.
like physically I can't it's uncomfortable and I
Yeah.
feel angry back because I'm feeling his frustration. And so I said, okay, well, moving forward, when you're feeling that way, I'll recognize that and I'll just listen. I'll just listen.
Yeah.
All he wants is me to listen. He doesn't want me
You
to
don't need
fix
to
it.
solve it. No.
Yeah, so
Mm-mm.
that's our solution. But I know what you mean, where it's like turned up like to full blast, and you're like, I don't even know how to handle life anymore because like
No.
everything is like extra, extra loud.
It's so loud. Yeah.
Yeah.
And I
And then,
feel like and then I feel so deeply now, right? Like, you know how we've talked about before, where I'm like, I'm not the crier. I'm like, blah, blah, blah. Like, you know,
you're the crier.
oh, I've completely allowed all of that in. And I'm like, I've had like, oh, there's like, it's like I feel it so much. Like, I don't know. It's like two different frequencies.
Hmm.
Like if I've been hurt or I'm upset about something, it's like it just like switches over and I'm feeling all like everything and I'm beside myself for
Hmm.
a period of time and I'm literally like no, like I don't know, it's the weirdest fucking thing.
I know.
And then I snap out of it and then I'm like that's fine, it's cool, yeah, it's fine. And you're like what the fuck, like last night you're like it's like I'm gonna all of the things and then I'm like it's fine. I'm like okay, fucking feel
I
psycho. I've never
know.
been this much of a up and down and I'm because I'm a masker, like I'm very good at masking, I still do that,
Mm,
right? So it's like it's this internal battle because I don't share it with
yeah.
others, right? I'm like
Which
thank God.
you'd have no friends.
No friends. I'm like
It is very hard. I know exactly what you mean. But I also find like because we're at this point now in this stage in our ascension journey where, everything is extra loud and we're super sensitive, we also see through the veil so much easier. Like it's almost like there is no veil now. Like so when you come across a person who is rude or obnoxious or, taking something out on you like for no reason at all, like they're just whatever projecting on you.
yeah, projecting, yeah.
Yeah, you can see through it so
Mm-hmm.
clearly, and then you understand immediately what's happening.
Mm-hmm.
And so it's as much as we can say, like, well, I know what's truly going on here. So let's give an example. Let's say you're just doing your job,
Mm-hmm.
and then you get in. email from a client that's frustrated with something at the bank that has nothing to do with you,
Yeah.
but it's your fault and it's your problem to fix and it's your everything is just you, even though you had nothing to do with the initial problem, but this client is being or this person is being super unreasonable or angry and venting and just like throwing everything at you. And you, so first of all, we feel it like 1,000 times
Oh, yeah.
more.
Yeah.
But then also like we can see the truth. Like, well, I know you're not angry with me.
Hmm.
Or I know that whatever the situation is. So you would think it would make it easier for us to hold compassion to just kind of like let it go.
Hmm.
But I think that one after the other, after the other, after the other, like it gets hard to release that
Yeah.
compassion or to hold
Especially
that
when it's
compassion.
unfair,
Or unjust,
unjust, and
being
like it's,
targeted for no reason, and you
I
can see through that.
know
Yeah.
it's so, yeah, it's real. That's really, really hard. And like I went through something like that. I've gone through that a few times at work, but more recently. And that totally type of thing, right? It was
Mhm.
something was not part of, and um, was kind of wrongly accused, or not accused. I guess it was just like wrongly, like I had nothing to do with it. It wasn't
The
me. It
fault
was,
was placed on your shoulders
yeah,
for
when
no
I
reason.
was not even
Yeah.
part of anything. And you know what I found really interesting in this scenario was when it happened, um I didn't instantly get all like
Hmm.
rage, right? Like usually, because I'd be like, what?
Hmm.
Oh, how dare you? Like in my head where I had nothing to do with this. And like I get all like, like unjust and all that stuff. And it was so odd because yes, I was like, not obviously I was kind of like, the fuck? Um, but when I went to respond, I don't know, this calmness came over me. I was
Hmm.
completely calm. My partner in the background's chirping away, oh, you should say this. And I was like, and I just literally like blocked it out. And I was just writing from this place of calm. It was so weird. I felt so peace and calm. And I was just like neutral.
Yeah.
And so, sent it off, and I felt really good with myself. Like I remember like driving home that night, and I was like, oh my God, good for you, Allison. Like that's evolution there. You're evolving, because usually I'd be like, what? Not like
Yeah.
I would never be rude or say it, but I would be, maybe a bit more, I don't know, in a professional tone, but a bit more
Hmm.
kind of like, maybe please do this,
Yeah.
passive aggressive.
Yeah.
Um, and then turns out that my email was
Triggered.
triggered
Because
other people.
I bet you because the frequency was sent with calmness and from your heart,
Mm-hmm.
that frequency was felt on the other side and misinterpreted because it's not a frequency they exist in. And so that triggered them.
And it was, I felt so deflated. Like
Yeah.
I felt that was a punch in my gut, and I
Hmm.
and I was never meant to read what this person had said. It was, I wasn't meant to read it, and I came across it by accident, and I'm reading this, and I literally was in my head going, Allison, this is a them thing. It has nothing to do with you. You did, but I couldn't help but get this like just like boom in my stomach, like, and it was one of these like where I was like, I can literally, there was nothing I could do right in this scenario, like
Hmm.
nothing.
Hmm.
This I triggered this person, just my existence. It doesn't
Hmm.
matter what I say. If I didn't say anything at all, it would have been like, somebody doesn't care.
Hmm.
I'm like,
Yeah.
there was no way, but it was so deflating and disappointing, because I was proud of how I handled it. I was proud that I was like, I was like, thank you so much for letting me know. I was just looking into this. If there's anything I can do to help, like, I was being above the line.
Yeah.
And the person who originally sent it has, it has been known to be a little bit of a bully. And so I was like, look at me, above the line. I'm not gonna feed into it. And then it to still not be received. And
Yeah.
those are the moments that it was just like, what's the fucking point? I'm
Hmm.
trying here.
Right?
No,
That's where we go. Like it's so hard.
it's so
What is the
hard.
fucking point?
What's
I don't just don't know because it's hard. It's hard. And I remember asking in meditation once, like, how, because I go through this like a lot too. And specifically, there's one person that we work with or that I work with that just doesn't like me because I exist. Like, literally, I've never had a friendship with this person, like, just colleagues. You know what I mean? This person just does not like me because I
yeah.
just exist. And that's really hard to understand. Like, I'm
Hmm.
a pretty nice person.
Yeah.
But so like
When
and it
you're like,
raised
I'm a nice person, I'm nice to you. I want to be your friend. Like, what are you talking about?
literally done nothing bad to this person directly ever in my life.
Oh my
And this
God.
person just doesn't like me. So, and that's hard on a sensitive's heart. Like,
Yeah.
you know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's
Yeah.
just hard on a sensitive's heart, like to not understand that.
Hmm.
Even though her perspective, like I see through why, like I get it, but it still doesn't take away the confusion and the hurt, right?
Yeah.
So,
Absolutely.
and so I asked in meditation once, about this particular topic, and I was like, well, how can we avoid, like, how can we move through this experience without feeling such a difference in the disconnection, and like, why is it so hard? How can I soften it? And
Hmm.
it just came down, I heard one word, it was compassion. Have compassion for that person.
Hmm.
You know what I mean? But practicing compassion for
Yeah.
almost every person that you come in contact every day, like
Hmm.
having compassion for so many people, that's exhausting.
It is
So,
tiring, especially when you feel like you're always having to be the better person or take
yeah.
the higher road. And
Mhm.
sometimes you're like, why can't somebody take the higher road with me? Right? Like, why can't you
Yeah.
be the better person? Like, why
Yeah.
am I always the shitting stick ground? What?
I don't know
I
what
don't
you're trying to
know.
say.
Punching bag? Maybe
A
that's what,
punching
not a shitting bag. Okay.
punching bag. But like it is hard because, so even thinking back to like the youth sports and stuff, and that group of, it's like a big collective group of toxic energy, and trying to have compassion for that when it's directly affecting my child, directly affecting me, directly affecting my family. Do you know what I mean? Like,
Hmm.
it's hard to hold compassion for that long, and for every day.
Yeah.
So there's moments where you can go, I can get into compassion for, in moments, for people that are just, making it hard for me.
Yeah, I know.
But I can't, it's hard to hold compassion for a long period of time every single day. You know what I mean? Because
Because we're
it's
human too.
human.
Like, and I think that's the other thing is like, yeah, so majority of the time I'm in a vibration, a higher vibration, or like I come from that place. Um, but I'm also human and I
Mhm.
have my triggers, and there's gonna be times that I'm like, fuck this shit, fuck that, fuck you. I don't give a shit. Like, oh my God, you look disgusting today. Like I have my low frequency things, right? Like,
Yeah.
absolutely. And that's just part of being a human.
Mhm.
Um, but and so I think that's where it's at times, yeah, it's hard to be like, can I just be grumpy one day?
Yeah.
Can I just be the one that's fucking grumpy?
Mhm.
Like
Mhm.
it's funny because like within my family dynamic, my sister, she's known for having a little bit of a temper. She's an Aries. Everybody, she's an Aries. She's fire. Anytime you see a reel, describing different situations with the different signs, Aries is always like the rage. And she, fits into that real well. And so it's crazy just in the family dynamic, like it's acceptable behavior for
Yeah.
her, right? Because that's she's always been that way. And she'll get upset about something or whatever. And it's just accepted.
Hmm.
And then that's where I find it really difficult when all of a sudden maybe I do something that's maybe I get a little like frustrated or a little, and it's like a quarter. And it's literally like, oh my God, what the hell happened to you? How you hurt my feelings really bad, Allison. And I'm like, what? How? How? Like, because you felt this little bit of frustration in my voice. And I'm
Yeah.
like, and that's where it's like also really hard too. Like, I can't at all.
Yeah.
Why
It is
am I not
hard.
given the grace?
I think it's important to say, like, we talked a lot today about how hard it is to exist in this world right now. As
Fuck
a
yeah.
highly sensitive um, being who's, exists in who's done a lot of work to exist in a higher frequency. And then, so we're talking about how it feels to dip down into that lower frequency, or how it is to exist in that higher frequency while we're surrounded by people who aren't in the same frequency, because life is life. You have to go to work, you have to go to the grocery store, you have to go to your kids' sports. You
Mm-hmm.
have to exist around people who just aren't on that same page as you. And it's really challenging a lot of the times, but I think it's not challenging all the time. So
No, no.
we're complaining today about how
Just
hard
let
it
us complain, okay?
because we don't talk about the hard part a lot. We talk about how exciting connecting to your intuition is, and how magical and how like blissful it can be. And but on the other side of it, there's hard parts, and there are periods throughout the week or throughout the day sometimes where it can be just you just feel disappointed or discouraged. You just feel
Mhm.
let down, and you're just like, I don't know how to exist in this world any longer. And those are valid feelings that not just we have, I'm sure
A
hundreds of
lot of
people
people
have.
have. Yeah.
And we just want to validate that that is something that we're experiencing too,
Hmm.
um, and that it's hard to move through. So remembering to drop into compassion when you can, or even just taking a moment to like do what you need to do, like cleanse or go for a walk or do something to shift your energy, can help. But
Well, and it's holding compassion, yes, for others, but also for yourself.
yeah,
Like giving
yeah.
yourself some grace, like, uh, don't beat yourself up when you're in those moments. Allow it to run through you as you see, instead of fighting it or being like, "Come on, get into a better headspace." Like I've been really um focused on that these past few years, where it's like if I want to cry myself to sleep, I'm going to cry myself to sleep, because obviously that's what my body, my energy is needing, right?
Yeah,
There's
yeah.
I'm not going to beat myself up about it. If I want to hermit and I don't feel like talking or don't going out or anything, then I'm going to hermit, and
Hmm.
and I'm going to do that because that's what I'm needing.
Hmm.
And I think it's also recognizing that sometimes it has nothing to do with you,
Hmm.
and you're feeling all of these feels, and it's literally the collective energy. It's literally the Schumann resonance or the solar flares, you know
Or all
or
of the above
or
at one
us,
time.
yeah, or yeah, or astrology, and because you're super sensitive, it has nothing to do with you and the people around you. You are just feeling it,
Hmm.
and you just have to ride that wave. And I've definite 100%, and that's I feel amped up even more, where I am feeling those things more frequently.
Hmm.
And it's one of those where I'm like, okay, then I'm just gonna cry, or I'm just gonna like sleep, or I'm just gonna it's more difficult when you're like trying to explain it to like your family, your friends, your partner, to be like, I know. I just want to cry right now. Why are you crying? Oh, I don't know. I just need to cry right now. And it's because of the solar flares happening. And I just need you to leave me alone. Because I
Right?
just want to
I
cry.
know.
And then you're just like, and you sound crazy, but you're just like, and then part of me's like, I wish you would just understand, like maybe even just say, are the energies crazy today? Yep. Okay. Got it. Got it, babe. Cry, 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 whatever. And like, thank you. Or
Yeah.
I might react to something, like have a bigger reaction to something like than it really should be,
Hmm.
because I'm carrying a bunch of that other energy, you
Yeah.
know?
Yeah. I think I don't know about you, but when I listen to like some of our favorite intuitives and they talk about the monthly forecast or the
Mm,
yearly forecast of energy, what to expect, and even astrologers talking a lot about how there's going to be a lot of like shaking, like earthquakes kind of thing, but also a lot of
mhm.
volatility, and they're thinking volcanoes, like a lot of all that sort of stuff. And I think on a physical level, yes, but I think on an energetic level, even more so.
Yeah.
Everybody is going through this experience at some level or not, and some people are more aware of it than a lot of other people are. So when things are shaking, things might be shaking in your life where like you're just like something's changing, something's shifting, and it's out of your control, or something's erupting, and that could be your emotions. It could be changes in your relationship or your career, and abrupt and volatile and all that sort of stuff. And I think that that's just getting everybody ready for 2026. And I don't know where this is coming
Yeah.
from or why I'm talking about it.
Well, you're channeling it.
I feel,
Okay.
yeah, I feel like if anybody's going through this really unsteady period of time, it's going to continue for the next little while. And then I think it's preparing everybody for what's ahead in 2026. And I feel uh, like it's going to be easier.
We need
I
a
feel like
little bit of a
2025
break.
is, yeah, like the transition phase.
Well,
And
20 it's the 9 year, right? In
yeah, oh yeah,
numerology, it's the 9 years. So it's a year of endings.
yeah, yeah.
And then it's a rebirth in 2026. Now I was talking about this last night with some friends and I was like, I don't think we're gonna be like all of a sudden like
No,
butterflies and everything. I think we're still on this bit of a polarity roller coaster
yeah.
for a few more years. Like I keep seeing 2030. So that's kind of like, what the fuck? But you
I
know what?
feel
We've done 5 years of this already. We got this.
Well, yeah, I think the next 5 years it'll slowly get better. So
Yes.
it
So we
slowly
hit a
got
peak.
worse.
Yeah.
Yeah, it
Yeah.
slowly got worse. 2025, we're in the middle space,
Yeah.
and now I think that 2020, like it's going to
It's
be
gonna
hard.
start getting
Yeah.
lighter. And yeah, I was describing it to my friends like I was like it's like a contraction. When a female's having a baby and she's having contractions, it's like
Mhm.
it goes up to this peak and it goes to the peak and then you go
Mhm.
back down and then the peak. And I'm like,
It
even
feels
that.
like contractions are one after the other.
Yeah, no, but no, we have been on the uprise, and I
Mhm.
feel like we're hitting our peak, and then we're gonna start slowing, but it's still gonna be up there, but it's gonna
Yeah.
slowly start coming back down. And I was even describing like perimenopause like that, like hot flashes. I said hot flashes are just like having contractions. I'm like it literally over weeks, obviously not over seconds, but over weeks, it's like you'll start having hot flashes, and it'll be like a little bit, more frequently, more than all the time.
Oh no.
And then it starts to ease off, and you're like, oh, I'm on the other side of the mountain. Okay. I'm like, so good. And I remember like experiencing this because I turned to my sister who's 5 years older and has already gone through it. And I was like, does it like hit a peak? I'm like, because I feel like the frequencies just like sped up, and then I get like hot flash, hot flash, hot flash, hot flash. And then I said, and then it starts to like ease away. She's like, yeah, it's totally like that. It's like little peaks and valleys. And I was like, what?
God,
So
sounds terrible.
dumb. It is terrible. You're gonna wet your bed just with sweat.
Oh my God.
I know. I know. My blanket, because I'd be in there and I'd be like, oh, and then I wake up and then like the blanket around my neck was soaking wet. And then you like, go to the bathroom, come back, and you're like, ew, it's wet. And now it's cold. It's so gross. So disgusting. God,
Oh my God. And
I'm a
it's so
female. I
funny because
can't.
when I was younger, I always was freezing. So I always had to have the heat on, and then Nick was like, it's so hot in here. And now it's like the opposite. And he's like, it's so cold in here. And I'm like, oh my God, it's so hot. Open the window. Where's the fan? And he's like,
It's so true. It's
why can't we be on
inferno.
the same page?
Right? I
Yeah.
know. I'm like, I can't even, like, my partner will want to cuddle or something or something. Like, I have my own blanket. I've always had my own blanket, even in my marriage, two separate blankets. I
Yeah.
like to be able to have my leg out on one side or the other. Um, but, comes into cuddle, and then I'll be like, it's like my temperature just goes, And I can feel it's like fire all
Yeah.
on my back. I can feel like it's like you're way too hot. You're like an inferno. It's like fire. And I'm like, and then I just start sweating, and I'm like, what the hell?
Oh my
Can't
God.
do this. And it's the
No.
same thing because he's like, I'm cuddling because I'm so cold. Don't bring your hot body over here. I'm like, I'm so cold. And I'm just like, and I'm like, keep it even colder. Like, I haven't even turned off my air conditioning and it's getting cold at night. And
I
I'm like,
know.
air conditioning on.
So funny.
I know.
Oh my God.
I
Where
know.
our podcast is going to turn into the perimenopause
The
podcast.
perimenopause sisters. We'll give you tips and tricks after every podcast episode.
Tips and tricks for intuition and perimenopause.
And perimenopause. Oh my god, I love it. Um, I thought, okay, so like, just a few things to maybe help you to shift out. So obviously compassion, having compassion for yourself and for others. I think time, like so sometimes it's like, okay, I just give me my this little bit of time and let me just and be like in my and get it out, and then it will shift. Like it feels like, it's like an energy, like a period, and don't ignore it, don't push it away. Like if you're feeling angry about something, if you're upset about something, if you're like, that was not nice, that was not, bring it forward
Mm-hmm.
and literally call it out,
Yes.
and look at it.
Name it. Name it.
Name it, call it out, look at it, think about it. That will dissipate it.
Yeah.
But if you kind of like try to push it aside and be like, no, it's fine, I'm fine, fine,
Yeah.
doesn't matter, I'm fine, that's just storing somewhere. So you move through it a lot faster when you can just call it out for what it is. So if somebody's hurt you, or somebody was unjust, or somebody treated you unfairly, then literally call it out and be, and however you want to do that, whether that's like, sometimes I just write letters in my phone, just
Mm-hmm.
in my notes, and just like write out exactly how I'm feeling. And then I always just find a good night's sleep. It's so
Yeah.
fucking true though, because at
Yeah.
night everything is way worse.
What's the 24-hour rule, right?
Yeah, and then
To
you wake
wait.
up and you're like, oh, it wasn't too bad.
Yeah.
Or you wake up and you're like, nope, still pissed.
The other thing is to when you have the option to not engage. So, like for example,
Yes,
this freaking group chat on the app, and I'm like, I'm not participating. I'm not even going to read it. Let me
be the
know.
observer.
Let me know the outcome, and I will do what I need to do. But like, try not to
Mhm.
participate in that and protect your peace, essentially.
Yeah. Yeah. No, and that's so true, where it's like protect your peace. So whatever you need to do, you do that. If that means you don't go to a work function because you don't want to be around that energy, then you don't do that. You
Mhm.
protect yourself and your own peace and harmony,
Yeah.
however you need to do that, right?
Yeah, you decide what feels good and what you're willing to deal with. Because like, we don't want to fully pull away
Mm-mm.
from everything. So
But
there's gonna
sometimes we need to
yeah,
disengage. Yeah.
there's times where you need to protect your peace. But so pick and
Yeah.
choose the events and the conversations that you participate in and try not to fuel the toxic energy out there.
Yeah. And then I think like in if like for me, I'm gonna have to go to an event and be around the people that have really disappointed me, and the part of me is like, oh God, because like if you're around somebody that you trigger, you can feel it across the room
Oh, it's
that they're
fucking
just like,
daggers.
bleh. And so like what do you do in that instance? You literally bubble your energy. You
Mhm.
put up you cleanse your energy, you bubble your energy, you put the intentions out there that you are not affected, and that it's just, it is what it is. And
And you find the compassion. You literally sit there and you'll be like, okay, I have compassion for this person because of X, Y, Z. And that should help you stay in that frequency where
mhm.
it's not affecting you so loudly.
I know. Yeah, absolutely. So, and it's just, and then I think it's just knowing who you are on the
Mm.
core.
Mhm.
And even if you're misjudged, if, whatever it is, like if you, because that's hard, right? When you're kind of like, no, I'm literally just trying to be nice. And you're like, why are you being like this? And you want to convince a person and change their ideas. And it's like at the end of the day, you can't change what somebody thinks about you. That is their thing. As long
Hmm.
as you know who you are,
Yep.
that's all that matters, right? And I really try to stay onto that path and onto that, like,
Yep.
keep that in mind, where it's like at the end of the day, I know what my intentions are and were and whatever. And that's all it is.
So good luck.
I, I know.
Wish us luck too.
Yeah,
It's
it's
loud out
hard.
there.
It's hard. It's so hard.
Yeah.
Um, Yay. Okay, that's everything. If you like our podcast, we would love for you to give us a review. We love those.
Let us
And
know how you're feeling.
yeah, absolutely. You can comment on these videos, whether it's on YouTube or Spotify.
Yeah. Are you
And
feeling the way we're feeling?
yeah,
We need to know we're not alone.
yeah. And give a follow at Soulstar Energy Collective on Instagram, or I was gonna say Twitter. I'm like, I don't do Twitter. And it's
No.
not even that anymore. It's TikTok. It's
TikTok,
TikTok,
YouTube.
YouTube, all the things. Yeah.
That's it.
Yay. That's it. That's it.
All right. We'll see you guys next week.
Bye.